Coming up next on At Your Service, we will be discussing why it is important for families to acquire more information about the student federal aid process and how they can apply for those resources. Stay tuned. Today on At Your Service, we will cover the free application for federal student aid, commonly known as FAFSA. Joining us are two high school students who will be discussing the new AACPS FAFSA campaign aimed at boosting our completion rates. Thank you for joining us. And, please introduce yourself and tell a little bit about yourself to the viewing audience.
Yeah, so my name is Brenda Galvez, and I am a senior at Annapolis High School. I arrived to the country actually 2.5 years ago, and that's how my journey in AACPS started.
Wow, welcome.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mohammed Hashimi. I am from Arundel High School as senior, and I'm planning on going into global business or international business. I arrived to the country as right before the pandemic, actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, welcome. So, Brenda, do you have any future goals that you're thinking about? I know you said you just came to the country 2.5 years ago, but would you like to share with the viewing audience what you're thinking about?
Yeah, so what I'm currently thinking about is going into the biomedical engineering field, and also probably like international business. That's still an idea, but
Nice.
Yeah.
These are wonderful endeavors. So, as a senior, you're both seniors, this is your last year in high school, and you're preparing for those your post-secondary future. Some of it's that preparation to get there, right? And so today we're going to be talking about the FAFSA. So what do you know about the FAFSA and its purpose?
The FAFSA, the Federal Student Aid
Mhm.
application, is a way for students to get federal aid to pay for their future endeavors. That could be going into four-year university, college, or trade school, actually,
Mhm.
which is a very
Yes.
important application because it gives you the financial support you need in order to complete that goal.
Right. Do you want to share anything around that as well?
I think
Is
you
that
got it all.
okay? Thank you.
And then you're talking about future endeavors. Can you tell us a little bit about some of your future goals or endeavors?
Yeah, of course. Currently, right now, I am part of the ECAP program that AACPS offers, which you're able to dual enroll with AACC. And I'm about to complete my small business management certifications from Anne Community College. And I'm thinking about, I'm hoping to join UNICEF or United Nations in the future, so I can go back to Afghanistan and create small businesses for families who are suffering from poverty. And those families are able to send their children to school.
Wow.
Awesome. Those are great goals for both of you. So when we talk about the FAFSA, you had mentioned what it is. Why do you think families sometimes don't complete the FAFSA? What are some experiences maybe you have with fellow students or your own families that why we just don't always get families completing them?
Yeah, so I feel like it's mainly because of a lot of assumptions that people make, such as being an immigrant from Mexico. A lot of my fellow students and friends just assume that they're not eligible for FAFSA, but probably because they don't have the resources to handy, or they don't do the research about it. Because we know that it's a federal aid and support.
Mhm.
So that's why a lot of people assume that you have to be a U.S. citizen, and that's the only requirement. But a lot of them don't know that you can be eligible for it, even if you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Great. What are some of your thoughts?
I would think that most families believe that they make too much money for them to qualify, or they believe that it's very time consuming or it's too complex for them to complete. There's also lack of awareness because there's some families that think that they won't receive as much or they won't get any aid because of their immigrant status. Like you said. So yeah.
So there are a lot of you all are naming a lot of different barriers that I think exist out there. Whether it's lack of awareness, not thinking you're eligible, whether it's because of your status as a citizen or your income, or just being afraid. So I appreciate. I think that the point of this show today is to kind of eliminate some of those barriers and those misconceptions about the FAFSA, and so people can understand why it's important to apply. So,
And I'll chime in a little bit just because I definitely agree. I think when you're talking about income and family income, there's a lot of feelings about it. This is kind of a very personal thing for families, and it's a very sensitive topic for families. And sometimes there's a lot of distrust. I'm going to put all my financial information into a form, and then what? What's going to happen? The other piece that I always like families to be aware of is our scholarships, right? There are state-funded scholarships, and part of the requirement to access those state scholarships is a completion of a FAFSA form. And we're going to talk a little bit about the other application, the MISFA, under another agency in a little bit. But that's what I've come across when
So what
I'm
you're
working
saying
with
is even
students.
if you're not eligible for federal aid, you still need to fill it out to be eligible for some of these scholarships that you want to apply to.
And there are different applications, and we'll talk about, you know, the Maryland State application, and I think that's really important, and just understanding. And when we work with families in the school counseling office, we have to recognize that everybody has a different experience, and culturally, it's different. They're not going to share. Right? So they feel very uncomfortable with that. So it's really important to provide them the resources and kind of explain what they are with, you know, because I think sometimes they have to take time, families have to take time to kind of process that, especially if English is the second language. And then some of them are working through their own children to get the information they need. So it can be a challenge. And I will say that we are going to have 3 district events for second language learners pertaining to FAFSA completion this year.
That's
so
wonderful.
yeah, so and I'll share that information at the end of the show, and we can advertise that out. But yeah, so really we're trying to find a way to bring that information out to a larger audience, which I think that for us, for student services, that's a great partnership.
Right.
So tell us, did you all hear about some of the problems last year with the FAFSA portal?
I did not.
I hear there were some technical difficulties, some delays, but I'm hoping to get this fixed by December 1st. Yeah.
Awesome. Good.
Yeah,
So,
it was called the FAFSA fiasco, and literally,
I did heard about that. Now that you mention it,
it was the FAFSA fiasco, and so literally, the portal, and we couldn't get the information. It was like way pushed back. So deadlines were pushed back to June. Students couldn't, didn't know what kind of financial aid package they were, so they weren't not informed to make those family decisions. Like, it's important to know how much money you are going to get before you enter into a university and a contract with them. So December 1st, yay, we're looking forward to that date, and so that's going to be a wonderful. I think they're going to fix it, and we're all going to be smooth sailing for you this year.
All right, that sounds great.
So we talked a little bit, and I think we mentioned this. So while completing the FAFSA, we talked a little bit about the challenges you think you'll face and your family will face. Do you want to expand a little bit about that and some of the concerns you might have around that?
Well, mainly for me is things that you already mentioned. Like, my family are very close-minded with the fact of sharing to others their income and how things look like in our household, kind of thing. Which I get it, because again, my mom, she's still learning English currently, and just the culture that we have, and it's just like, why do you want to know, kind of thing. That's what my stepdad always says, like, why do I need to put this information down? Like, what do they need it for? So just a little bit of lack of information. It's kind of like a barrier for at least myself and my family.
Okay.
For myself, I would say lack of experience, because my parents did not attend college or university here, because they have never filled out the FAFSA.
Right.
And so they have no idea how to navigate through the questions or what documents they need, or gathering the documents that you need in order to fill out the FAFSA. That's going to be a big of a struggle for us, but hopefully through the resources that ACPS offers, we're able to navigate through.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. It's just they ask for a lot of documents, so where do you find them? And then to your point, why do you need them? What are you going to do with this information?
Right.
Why, like, this is confidential. Where is it going beyond this?
Right.
I think those are definite challenges and fears that make sense.
Yeah, I also relate to what he just said because of the fact that my parents, well, they did attend college, but again, not in the U.S.
Right.
So again, it's way different, and a lot of people assume like, oh, you're not a first generation, so you should be fine. Well, I'm a first generation in the U.S.,
Yeah.
so
Right.
so it's a little complicated.
And
That's a great point.
It is a great point because even here in the United States, Ryan and I know I'll be completing the FAFSA next year, and plenty of people, because it is a major event, right?
Yeah.
It is a major event, and the thing that people need to understand is applying to college, and then applying for FAFSA or MISFA, it changes every year. Right? So it's a lot like to plan for. But I do believe, like I said earlier, just a few minutes ago, that we are holding some district events where there'll be interpreters, where we partnered with the Office of Family Partnerships. We offered with Ms. Pellegrin's office, and we'll talk a little bit about the FAFSA campaign. But I think we're on the way of really trying to do a lot more outreach. For families if they want that information, and that's important.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So within your schools, I know you haven't applied for the FAFSA yet, but who are some of the staff members or people that you all go to for support or resources when it comes to post-secondary plans, ECAP you mentioned, and of course the
Right.
FAFSA and applying to colleges? Who are the people that you rely on in the schools? Yeah, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I would say the college and career coach that we have in our school. She's a wonderful lady, Miss Nixon. She helps me navigate through all the applications that is required for me to attend college or university.
Excellent.
Also, my school counselor, I would say a great source of information if you require anything more that your parents don't really know or they're curious about and you would like more information. I would say reach out to your counselor or your career coach at your school.
Excellent.
Yeah, for me it would be also either a counselor or trusted adult in the school. So during this few years, even though I haven't been here for a while, I've made a lot of great connections with teachers, and a lot of them have so much experience on this. So I've been asking a couple of my teachers to give me advice, to help me out with whatever I need, and pretty much all of them know exactly how to help me.
Great.
And I think that's really smart because we also have other individuals like our career work-based learning person. You have a work-based learning person at your school that can help you with that career side, whether it's a career school or information. And we also have our AVID program. The AVID teachers that support the students in the AVID program, they are a wealth of information too. So let's say your counselor's out one day, but the AVID teacher's there, you could ask them specifically information about college or career.
I'm also part of the AVID program as well. Yeah, Ms. Beyer, she is a great source of information for Arundel High School. I always, actually today, I even asked her about how I can fill out applications for students who their parents attended a university that's not listed on the FAFSA.
Oh,
Because there are some colleges that is not qualified as a university or for university. So, but you're required to say that your parents attended a university. So how are you able to prove that that college exists?
Gotcha. That's a good question too. And so let me ask you about that. Can you share with us? Now, Ryan and I know what the AVID program is, but that doesn't mean people that are watching in our community know what the AVID program is. Could you explain? This is a program that we offer, right? So could you explain a little bit about the AVID program?
Yeah, of course. The AVID program is a 3-year program where you take classes with students who, and other teachers who are qualified to get you ready, prepared for college. They help you with notes, with planning, with your scheduling. They help you prepare for your classes that you're going to take at university. And they also get you resources that you need in order to succeed in your more advanced classes like APs or anything like that. The AVID class also requires you to take the SAT in order to get the core. So it's a way to encourage you, hold you accountable in order for you to succeed in your application process.
Excellent. All right.
It's great support.
Well, we're going to take a break, but what I heard in this last question was if you, as you are going through this process, really reach out to your school counselor, your college and career counselor, your workforce development counselor, you're a trusted adult, anyone in the building that you really can connect to that will help you this process. We'll talk more about that. Coming up after the break on At Your Service, we will continue our conversation about the FAFSA. Stay tuned. Welcome back to At Your Service. We are going to continue our conversation with Brenda and Mohammed, two high school students, to talk about the FAFSA. First question, as we come back from the break, are you all aware of any of the workshops or information sessions that are available for families or students that are coming up about the FAFSA?
Yeah, so there's the FAFSA information event and FAFSA completion events that are held in schools around the county.
Okay, and is that at every school?
The information, yes.
Okay.
The information for FAFSA, yes, but the completion events for FAFSA events are only 3-4. Am I right?
Well, there's probably about half of those schools will run a completion event.
Oh, half of them. Okay.
Excellent.
I have the same exact resources. Yeah.
Excellent. Good. Do you all plan on attending one of them?
Definitely.
Yes.
All right, good. And when do they come up in December?
Yep. So because FAFSA is opening December 1st, we will start hosting some district events at the end of October and then November, just so that they're prepared and ready. But I also wanted some in January because December's so busy with holiday and the winter break that I thought it would be nice again to have it instead of like the third week in December when people are just ready to have their winter break. Let's pick it up after winter break. I think timeliness is over. So we will be having some 3 district events, and they will be at different high schools. One will be in the north, one will be at the south, and one will be in the center of our county. But along with the information night, every high school runs a FAFSA event. So reaching out, looking on the website is going to be, crucial to get that information to the families. And then I know some of them might be holding virtual events. So you might not have to go right to the school for those local events at the high school. Some of them will be virtual. I also know that sometimes many colleges, like we have the partnership with the financial aid office and AACC at the community college, they will also host, and sometimes they will host events at the libraries. So we will gather that information and kind of create a big calendar for you so that you're able to find that information through the communication office for AACPS. So that's going to be coming out.
What do you all hope to learn when you go to these workshops?
Well, definitely to know exactly what information I need to gather and just how to submit it and where to. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing it right.
Right, so you're following all the steps.
Yes, accuracy, I would say, most definitely, because someone with enough experience to navigate the process with me would be a great deal of help.
Right.
Yeah.
And to walk you through that. I think that's the big thing, because just from my experience, rushing through it and making a mistake with one number will delay your process. So really double checking what you're putting in as your information is critical. And it needs to kind of, if your family's going to complete it with you and you have a contributor, which would be one of your parents, if you're not independent, then that information has to match. So really, I look at it as students and their family members that are contributors should kind of be side by side, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And I know you both, I've mentioned you're both multi-language learners, and both, it sounds like your family members your parents are still, English is something they're learning. So how do you, what kind of resources or supports do you hope that some of these workshops would have for your families?
Well, so both my parents speak Spanish, so I'm hoping, and I am pretty sure that there will be facilitators for like either translate the content that is being shown to us, or just facilitators that are walking through this process with us in Spanish already.
Excellent.
I'm hoping for a translator, since it is quite rare to find a facilitator that speaks the same language as me. But having a translator available when you're filling out the application will be quite helpful.
And Ryan, I will say for the district events, there will be a Google form that families will complete and ask what language of interpreter they need there that night. So we're really trying to provide as much support as possible. So I have a question for you. This is a quiz, just a quick quiz. Have you heard of the Maryland Higher Education Commission, or MHEC?
I've heard of it. Is it the one that provides scholarships, grants, and loans
Yes.
for students who live
You
there?
won.
Yeah.
You
He
won
did his
the
homework.
prize. I know. Well, and so here's the piece that we need students and families to know. FAFSA is part one. FAFSA is part one. MHEC is part two, and it's vital. Okay, because you're right. If you want a scholarship, because there are state scholarships, so when you think about scholarships and applying for like a senatorial scholarship, a delegate scholarship, like there's police officer scholarships. I mean, there's so many scholarships. These are state-run scholarships, and you have to create an account through MHEC. Did you know that?
I've heard of
You've
that.
heard it?
Yes, because of seniors last year.
Okay. So not only will you create a FAFSA account, you're going to also go to MHEC and you're going to create an MD CAPS account. And that provides you an option. And the nice thing about MD CAPS this year, well, it really came out last year, is they have one application. They have application one. It's app one. And what you do is you complete that application and then you can apply to the 27 scholarship programs. So you're not doing 27 scholarship applications like they had prior.
That's great.
It makes
That
it a
would've
lot
been
easier.
tedious. Yeah.
So the other thing is we've talked about is the MISFA. Have you heard about the MISFA?
Just
What
a
does
name.
that stand for?
I don't really remember, to be honest with you. The Maryland State Financial Aid Application.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
think. So, but here's the thing with the MISFA. The MISFA is for students that don't qualify for the FAFSA. And so they have their separate application. And so there are general guidelines to that. And that app one will also have the student go step to step through the MISFA. So even if they can't, qualify for federal aid, they could possibly qualify for state aid. And that's really what you want. You want students to be able to gather whatever resource they can around aid, right?
Yeah.
And so when we talk about aid, there are different types of aid. So what kind of aid, like we talk about scholarships, but there's also loans, right?
Mhm.
That's still considered aid. So when you're going to apply for the FAFSA, it's really important that you read the letter that you get from the college. Okay? And that's huge because they're separate. Some of it you might do work study. Work study, a lot of colleges, have students work on campus at the bookstore or wherever, and then that money goes to help pay for their tuition. So that's another great incentive. So MISFA is important. MD CAPS will be your account, and literally you want to have all that done as soon as you complete the FAFSA first. Okay?
Great. So how do you all think completing the FAFSA, the MHEC, the MISFA, will impact your college plans and financial aid for college? Like, how do you think this is going to impact, now that you've, some of the information that you know and what you've learned today, how do you think that's going to impact you?
Well, I would say financial aid is like one of the most important parts of the college application. So having enough money for the college that you want to go will make your decision a lot
Right.
simpler. Because if you can't afford a college or university, you're not able to attend it because you will want to make the most financially
Sounds smart.
smart
Right.
decision. So having the FAFSA giving you enough aid, or the MISFA or the MHEC,
Mhm.
having enough money to attend the college or university you get accepted to would be a lot of help.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, for me it's the same thing. That's one of actually my main focus points is I really don't want to
Pay.
have to pay that much money for college. So financial aid is definitely very, very important to me, and filling out all those forms will give me an idea of how much money I'm getting, and also that sets apart whatever money the universities may give me, so I can have an idea of how much money I need to save during the summer, how much money my parents and I are gonna have to start
Right.
collecting for specifically for that. So
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah, and you don't want to miss out on opportunities because you didn't find out every opportunity you had for
Yes.
financial aid, right?
Mhm.
Totally.
Because I hear you all have some very amazing aspirational goals, and like you
100%.
want to make sure you're able to fulfill those goals and your abilities. So financial aid shouldn't impact that. So
Yeah, I
great.
agree.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and it's smart because college is not it's expensive. Right? Let's not mince words.
Yeah.
It's expensive. The community college is a great option for families those first 2 years for a starting point to really acquire those first 2 years because you're getting your general ed electives and completing those. And then you could transfer and then do 2 years at a 4 year. So that is another option and it's a viable option. And Mohammed, you talked a little bit about ECAP. So can you explain what ECAP is?
Yeah, the Early College Access Program is when high school students are able to take classes at ACC if they fit the requirements. That is like passing the test. There's a required test that you need to take or pass one of your or have a minimum requirement GPA in order to qualify for the ECAP program. And after you qualify, you're able to register for AACC classes through your AACC counselor. There's a career coach that is in your school for AACC.
Yep, and it's a great opportunity for families. I know my daughter also participates in a program and is taking a college class, and that's why it's kind of like that dual pathway, right? And you can acquire, you might not have an AA degree, but you could at least maybe get a semester, under your belt before you decide to go to college.
And you're saving money already by having this college.
Yeah, totally.
Yes, I mean more parents, and I know that if you're interested, they can. We have an ECAP website on our AACPS website with lots of information. We've really kind of updated that with our new Office of College and Career Readiness. So it's just been a great opportunity. What advice would you give to your fellow students at your school if they're a senior or a junior? What are some things that you're sitting here now going, oh, I wish I would have done this maybe last year or this summer or anything, or even now?
Yeah, well, something that I personally did is talk to my parents about all of this, like, kind of like a heads up, if you want to think about it this way. Like, just letting you know, this is going to happen at some point.
Start collecting this information.
And probably not even collecting it just yet, but just like a lot of parents, like I was talking about my parents, they were not used to this kind of like sharing this personal information because they don't necessarily know that it's needed.
Right.
So just kind of like making them aware of what it is and just that it's coming up.
Yep.
That it's going to happen at some point because you don't want it to be a surprise. So just to take it a little more easy and not freak out at the moment, be like, oh yeah, by the way, this is going to happen.
Right, December 1st, right?
Yeah, like, oh yeah, in a month, kind of thing. Like, by the way, just letting you know.
For me, I would say advice would be start early. Get everything ready for your applications. Keep track of your deadlines. That's the most important part because you don't want to be missing those important deadlines. Make sure to have all the documents that you need and submit it before you submit.
Yeah, 100%. Just have it all together there. And have it
You don't want to be passing on opportunities just because you were not aware of the deadline.
Correct.
And just having in mind what kind of documents you need. So you just have that present and you're just not running all over the place trying to get everything together last minute.
Yep.
Good.
Don't
advice.
Don't hesitate for asking for help.
Definitely.
There's always people who are willing to help as long as you ask.
100%.
Well, thank you both for joining us. Thank you, Susan, for your knowledge. We really, really appreciate it. And thank you all for joining us on At Your Service. And we look forward to seeing you next time.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Bedell, and I am proud to be the superintendent of Anne Arundel County Public Schools, a district of 85,000 students and 14,000 dedicated employees. We are on our way to being the best school system in Maryland, and we could use your help to get there. Consider one of these many careers with us. So what are you waiting for? Apply today and help students like these be
AACPS